Hello beautiful friends, it's Jack Cox, author of Love Not Fear, and I come today with a message of hope, and I do hope that you take it in that light. Now, I know it's going to be difficult for some of you because some of you are I won't say addicted to, but some of you are heavily into your suffering and you don't want to be taken out of it, and that's fine. Others have particular religious beliefs, and I certainly don't want to contradict anybody's religious beliefs. I'm a great believer in religious freedom. So these are my ideas, and if you want to take them on board, then you're very welcome to do so, and if you want to reject them, you're very welcome to do that too. And if you don't want to watch this video, then I respect that as well. But some of you are ready to hear these words, and I'm speaking to you. I'm going to have to be very careful in this video and other videos that I make in the future about the words I use, because I've already had one taken down by YouTube for stating official figures, but YouTube obviously don't like official figures. I might talk in code a little bit. I mean, what I was talking about when I had my video taken down was a word that starts off with the name of the Greek god of nature and fertility and ends with the same ending as academic. And I'm not going to say what that word is. I don't want this video taken down. And I'm not making any comments about it in this video. But you all know what I think. And a lot of us, with all the censorship that's going on and the BS that we see all around us, we're getting down in the dumps. I know a lot of you are finding it really, really difficult. And some of you are finding it difficult that you can't see your family and friends. And there's one lady in particular I know who's been deeply hurt by that recently. So what I want to say in this video, being very careful with what I talk about and what I say, what I want to talk about in this video is nothing is real. As Bill Hicks said, it's just a ride. As I said in a previous video last week or the week before, we're in a flight simulator. That's an analogy I used. Some people like to say it's a computer simulation, and that's another good analogy. Some people like to call it the Matrix, and that's another analogy. But they're just analogies. They're not the real thing. The map is not the territory. Another very dear friend sent me something this morning on Messenger. It wasn't her words. She sent me to somebody else's channel, and it was his words, but they're very, very wise words. He said, imagine or think about life as a book. And if you turn the pages and you come to a page that's not filled with love and light and inspiration and beauty, you don't have to read that page. You can keep flipping through the pages until you find a page that is full of love and light and beauty. and then you can choose that page to read. Now, if life was real, we couldn't do that. But life isn't real. We're in a flight simulator. This is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Flight simulator is an analogy I've used before. It's just an analogy. I'm very, very sorry if you've lost family and friends, either to death or because they don't want to talk to you anymore. It's painful. There are times when we will crash and burn. But it's no more a tragedy than if a pilot crashed and burned in a flight simulator. This isn't the real life. This is just somewhere we come to practice. This is my belief. And I hope that belief will be inspiring to some of you and comforting to some of you. We don't have to buy into anything, but we can if we choose. We have free will. We can buy into whatever we choose to buy into. We can play the game. In previous videos I've used the analogy of a game of tennis. And I said that the last year or so it's been more like whitewater rafting, but it's still just a game or a sport. And we're here now on court or in the raft. And we can choose to play the game. We can choose to engage. I do. I enjoy playing this game. This 3D reality, fake reality game. But at the back of my head, all the time, not that that's where your consciousness is, but it's an analogy again. At the back of my head, I know it's just a game. When I die, I'm very, very happy to die anytime. I'm not tied into this incarnation in any way. I'm having fun, but when it's over, it's over. And loved ones don't understand that. They think, you don't care if I die? Well, yeah, of course I care. I'm going to miss you. But we'll meet again soon. So stop taking it all so personally. Stop taking it all so literally. Because it ain't necessarily so. Yeah, we're playing this lovely game at the moment of prevent totalitarianism from taking over. It's a great game and enjoy it. But don't take it too seriously. Yeah, play to win. You have a game of tennis, you play to win. You don't get on the tennis court and say, oh, it's just a game, I'm not going to try very hard. You try your hardest. This is, as Lewis Carroll said, I can believe 6 different impossible things before breakfast. To a certain extent, we have to believe in these impossible things in order to play the game, in order to live in this 3D space-time fake reality that we're playing in. We have to buy into space and time, or we can't play here. At least we have to buy into it provisionally. That's why life is full of paradoxes. And what I think Lewis Carroll was really talking about there was paradoxes. Nothing is impossible, and no two things are incompatible. And if they appear to be, it's because you're not looking at them from a high enough perspective. There's another analogy that's used a lot. I first came across it in university, and it was used then in the context of talking about quantum entanglement. How one subatomic particle can affect another subatomic particle at a distance, or appear to do so. And this analogy has two sticks upright in the sand. And a big wave comes in and knocks them both down. Now, if for some reason you're not aware of the wave, if somehow the wave is happening outside of your field of experience, on a different vibration that you can't detect, then you could reasonably assume that one stick falling down has caused the other stick to fall down. What I was being taught in university is that it ain't necessarily so. There may be another force that we don't know of yet, which is responsible for quantum entanglement, what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. Whenever things don't make sense, you can normally assume that there's some piece of information that you don't have yet, or collectively we don't have yet, that when we do have it will enable it to make sense. So don't get so hung up on stuff. We're living in a very narrow band of perception, a very narrow band of the things we are able to experience. We see the visible spectrum, what we call, in our species, we call the visible spectrum. It's not the same for all species. And it's a very, very, very tiny, narrow band of all the electromagnetic spectrum. Does that mean all the rest of the stuff isn't true? Of course it doesn't. If there weren't other bands, other frequencies that we can't pick up, then we couldn't have televisions and radios, for instance. But there are still more frequencies that we haven't even got machinery, equipment that can detect. And all the world's unknowns have somehow, probably, in those frequencies. So what happens when we die? Well, there's lots of different theories, and as I say, there are certain certain religions that have capitalized on some of these theories. And I don't want to insult anybody's religion, but I think we go back to source. I think there is only one consciousness in the universe. You can call it source, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you like. You can call it the quantum field. And that consciousness, as we don't really have the words in our language to say what it did. So I'm going to use approximate words and hope you can fill in the gaps. It differentiated into you and me and Ethel on the counter in order to experience itself and in order to evolve and to grow. It's another paradox. Yes, God is perfect. Yes, God is still evolving. It's a paradox. You need a higher perspective to understand it. Got the boy racers out the back. I don't know if you can hear them. So really that's all I want to talk to you about today. If you return to spirit, or one of your loved ones does, by all means grieve, go through the process. But please just know that you'll meet them again soon. And the separation is just an illusion. This whole 3D matrix is an illusion. When I talk about us being individuals, there's another analogy that I use, and it's in my book. And I talk about islands, tropical islands if you like, small tropical islands, atolls if you like, in the sea, in the ocean, all separate islands. Really? Are they? You ask a diver. You go down to the seabed and you see that they're all connected, they're all part of a landmass that's been flooded. They're just hills. They're not separate. And I think that's what you and I are. We're not separate. Our apparent separateness, our illusion of separateness is brought on because we can't see beneath this illusion of the water. And this is another paradox. We're all one, but we're all individuals. And so, yes, know that if you hurt another, you're hurting yourself. And then when you know that, and in fifth dimensional consciousness, we all know that instinctively, then you won't ever cross your mind to hurt anybody. And I'm not just talking people, I'm talking plants and animals and rocks. You wouldn't hurt anything. Why would you? Why would you want to? But at the same time, we're individuals. It's the paradox. They're both true. And we have to respect each other's individuality, each other's free speech, each other's free will, freedom of choice, freedom to take or not take any particular, what's the word I can say without getting banned? Well, you know what I mean anyway. Jab. So can we respect each other's individuality and at the same time respect that we're all one, and at the same time respect that the whole thing is just a simulation anyway, and when we die we're going to wake up from this dream, or we're going to sit down out of the flight simulator, or we're going to walk off the tennis court, or we're going to beach our raft and walk onto the shore. Whatever analogy suits, use whatever analogy you like. Just don't take it all so seriously, folks. As Shakespeare said, there's nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. We go inside, we tell ourselves stories, Oh, it's so terrible. I've been censored by YouTube today. They're taking my video down. Oh, woe is me, woe is me. No, it's just a ride. I don't take it that seriously. But I am here to play the game, and the game involves speaking out for free speech. Speaking out against totalitarianism. Speaking out for all our freedoms. But do it in a loving way. And you don't have to fall out with people who think differently. You don't have to fall out with anybody. But now we come on to the bit that I've been leading up to, and this is going to be a bit of an earth shaker for a lot of you. It's about forgiveness, okay? Now I say there's nothing to forgive. For a start, the whole thing's just a game, it's just a simulation. For a second, every time somebody hurts us, in inverted commas, we have the opportunity to learn and to grow from that. So they've done us a favour. And yes, our oldest, deepest, most loved friends in spirit are the ones we're going to ask to come to Earth and teach us these lessons. So the people you think now are your enemies, hand on cock and all that lot, they're not really. They're probably our best mates in spirit. They've come to put us through this test, this experience, this opportunity to grow. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Doris, for giving us this opportunity. And who's behind them? We all know that the politicians are just puppets. Who's behind them? Well, opinions vary. There's lots of different theories. We can talk about the globalist elite. We can talk about the cabal, and I do a lot in my book. Well, I don't say it about them because I want you to hate them. I just want you to understand the game. And it is just a game. It's just a game, folks. And there are people that talk about the archons. I mean, they talk about reptilians. Maybe the archons are the same as the Anunnaki, I don't know. But the Gnostics the Sumerians called them the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. And the Gnostics called them, if they're the same group of beings, the archons. And they may be true or they may be a metaphor, and I'm not going to get involved in that now. But let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that they're real extraterrestrial beings that have come to Earth and they're controlling us through the pyramid that David Icke talks about. We're all one in spirit. Yes, even the archons. are our best mates in spirit. So don't hate them. Yes, you can play the game. They've come here to teach us some lessons. They've come here to teach us how to set ourselves free, maybe, so we can grow and grow from the experience of setting ourselves free from their tyranny. So whether it's politicians, whether it's your next door neighbour that's got a boy racer car that keeps you awake, whether it's the archons, there's no reason to hate anything or anybody. In spirit, when we return to spirit, we'll have the perspective to understand that they're our best friends. So if we can accept intellectually that what I've just said is true, and a lot of you won't, but if you do, if you can believe that when you return to spirit, you'll have that higher perspective, what's stopping you having it now? I'm just going to leave you with that thought. Namaste.